Okay, the topic that we need to discuss in today's session is the arrays part. So, what is an array? Array is something like when we have some similar type of a data. Okay, so we are representing some similar type of a data or a variable, similar type of variables having common data type, having common data type, having common data. So we represent this array, that is a group of a similar type of a variable that is referred with the common data type. So that's the case where how we can represent this particular portion of an array. So arrays in Java somehow work differently as compared to the another languages like C or C++. So we have some specific features for this array in the case of this Java. Okay. So the very first part that you need to remember that in Java, arrays are dynamically allocated. In Java, arrays are dynamically allocated. So that will just tell us by dynamic allocation we mean that at the time of the execution that memory will be allocated to this particular type of an array. Okay. Second thing is that since arrays are objects in Java, so we use this arrays in case of Java act as an object. So arrays in Java acts as an object. So it is acting as an object in case of Java. Okay, so we can find its length. So as compared to the other languages like C or C++, we use the size of. But in case of an array, we use the method length here. We will be using the method length in order to calculate the length of that particular array. Right? So this is the second feature that how it. This is the particular that if we are using arrays in case of a Java. So this is the second feature that you must remember while using the concept of arrays in case of Java. Third part is that we can also declare this array part. Like in Java, we can declare array by using this type of notations. Okay, so we have to use this here notations with this particular Java. Okay, with this particular array form in the as a variable. So we need to represent all these things. So we can say that variable can be declared. Variable can be declared using using this notations. Okay, so we can use this particular notation with or after or after data type. Okay, so we can use this particular notation like this here brackets that we can use with the data types. Okay, next thing that we need to remember that the variables in the case of an array are ordered. Always we have an ordered list that will start from 0 and it will always starting with the value 0. Okay, so Java array can also be a static field, a local variable or a method. So Java array can be static or it can be a local variable. So it can be a local variable or it is a method value or it could be a method value. Right? So this is some of the features of this Java part. So next thing, so the size should be always integer part. We cannot use any long or a short variable for that. So we have to use that size in the form of a integers. Okay. So next is what? So the last feature is we say that in case of an arrays in Java, it acts as a object. So if it is an object, so directly we are having the direct superclass of array type is object. So direct superclass of an array type is object. Is object. Direct superclass of an array type is the object here. So these are some of the features in case of a Java that we can represent it. So I just again provide you review of all these features. So in Java, arrays are dynamically allocated. That means at the time of the execution, we provide that particular memory allocation to this array part. Secondly, arrays in Java will act as a object, so that's why we have to use this length method we use in order to calculate its size. Otherwise, in another languages like C or C++, we are using that size of operator. Next thing is that variable can be declared by using this type of subscripts, or we can say that a square bracket that can be used with or after the data type that we need to mention for that particular array variable. Secondly, it is an next thing is that it is an ordered list that will start from 0. So always in case of an array, it can start with the value 0. So by default, the value will start from the 0 part. So Java array can be static. You can use a particular Java array as a static variable, or we can have that local variable, or it can be used as a parameter in a method. Okay, so this is also the way that how we can represent an array. So size should be, always we have to mention that size in case of an array should be of integer form. We cannot use that short or long data type with this particular array. And the direct superclass of an array type is an object. Okay, so the direct superclass that we will be having of this array type is an object. Fine. So the next thing that we need to discuss here is that how we can represent what is the advantages of this array. Okay. So what is the main funda of using the arrays concept? So basically, it is used for the code optimization. So how we can use this particular array part, that it can be used for code optimization. Okay, so the major benefit of using arrays is that we can use it for the code optimization. So these are some of the advantages here that we can share. That we have a proper code optimization. Okay. So what we mean by this code optimization, that we can retrieve or sort the data efficiently. So whatever the data or the we can say any type of information that we need to fetch, so it makes us easy to fetch all those things in a more efficient. Okay, so code optimization is there, so we may get optimized code that can help us to retrieve or to sort any type of a data in an array. Second advantage of this particular array is that we have a random access. We have a random access to any element in an array. Okay, so it provides us that we can get any data located at a particular index position. So it helps us to have the random access to that particular data in an array. Okay, so this is how we can represent this particular part, that why we are using this array, what is the main advantages of this array. So there is only one major disadvantage that we can talk about, that we have a limited size limit is there. So whatever the size that you will be mentioning in case of an array during the declaration time, you have to work under that particular size limit. Okay, so you have to work under that particular size limit only. This is the main disadvantage of using the array. Okay, so we can store only the fixed size of elements in the array, and it doesn't grow its size at runtime. So it doesn't has its own facility that it can grow at the time of runtime. So we need to maintain that particular size, or we can say that there is also some privilege of there is a frameworks are there, collection frameworks are there that help us to grow the size at the time of the execution. but that particular thing is not the part of our content. So we will overall we can discuss that we have a size limit disadvantage in case of an array that doesn't allow the size of an array to grow itself at the time of the execution. Fine. Now the next thing that we need to declare that what are the different types of an array. So many times we have used that concept of arrays in other languages. Same goes for in case of this Java also. So we have that a single types of array we have, as we can have, that is a single dimension, and the multiple dimension, and the multi-dimensional arrays we can have. Multi-dimensional arrays are. Okay, so first of all, we will discuss regarding the single dimensional array. So in the case of the single dimensional arrays, how we can define? So first of all, we can see that what is the syntax we can use in order to declare a single dimensional array. Syntax for declaring single dimensional array. Okay, so we can declare a particular single dimension like this. First of all, we need to write the data type over here. Okay, then the variable name, that is the array variable, like A. Okay, you can also write like this: data type the notations can go with A also, and also there is a third option that how you can write this particular, how you can declare this particular. So these notations can be used either with after this data type, okay, or we can use it before this variable name, that is the array variable name, or we can use it after array. So all three options are correct in order that if you want to declare that particular single dimension array. Okay, so next thing is that how we can instantiate a particular array in Java. Okay, so for that what we are having, so this was to declare the single dimension array. Second thing that we need to discuss, that how we can instantiate an array. Instantiation of an array. So here what we can have, we can have the array reference. So you can see like this: array reference variable equal to. So this is the reference variable that you will give. That is array reference variable new, and we have to mention the data type, and we have to mention the size too. Okay. So this is the thing that you need to discuss, that how we can instantiate a particular array type over here. Okay, so this is data type, array reference variable equal to new data type and the size that you will be mentioning over. Okay, so this is how we can use this particular. So there are two concepts. One is the declaration of array one, and second one is the instantiation of an array. So we will discuss it one by one. So what we mean by instantiating an array in Java? So when an array is declared, we can just discuss another topic, which is quite new in case of arrays in Java. So that particular topic is instantiating an array in Java. Instantiating array in Java. Okay. So here you can mention like this, that when an array is declared, only a reference of array is written. So So when we declare an array, only its reference is created. Okay. So at the time of a declaration, only a reference of an array is created. Okay. So in order to actually create or give memory to array, we need to instantiate that. So just remember one thing, that at the time of a declaration, only its reference of a particular array is created. But if we want to give some memory or we want to create that particular array part in the memory portion, at that time we need to instantiate that particular array. Okay, so we need to instantiate that particular array. So what is the syntax for instantiation that we have already discussed? That here we can reference a variable name equal to new and the type of an array you are given. So it will mention your data type over here and then is your size. So variable name is equal to new type and the size function. So this is the way that how we can instantiate it. So size will specify the number of elements in the array. Variable name is the array variable that is being linked to, and new is used to allocate the memory to an array. Okay, so we are using this new to allocate an memory to an array. So we must specify the type and the number of elements to allocate. So we have to define the type, what type of a memory that we need to allocate, and what is the number of elements that we are using in that particular array. Okay, so why we require instantiate? Just to allocate memory to an array. So declaration doesn't allocate any type of a memory to an array. It is at the time of instantiation that we allocate some memory to an array. Okay. Next case is that, like, okay, again I will discuss this point. Like now, let's suppose so, like we are having, let's suppose we are having int array. Int array is there. That means I am declaring that particular int array. What this particular statement is defining, that I am declaring that particular array. So that is int array. This is the name of my array, and I have provided with that particular notation. Next thing is that now we need to instantiate that particular array, or we can say that we need to allocate memory to an array. So what we will write like this, that is, what is my array name? This. So I can write like this, array equal to new. New is the keyword that we use. Int will be there, and my int, because my array what type of my array is, that is integer. And here I need to refer the size. Okay, so this is the instantiation of an array. So in array is the declaring array over here, and array equal to new in 20. So that is the how we can instantiate that particular array, how we can allocate some particular memory to an array. Okay, so these are the two statements that we require while we want to use an array in the program. Okay, so first is for the declaration part. So and the second is for the instantiation part. Or we can have the combined statement also, or we can use the combined statement that will both declare my array also, and that will both instantiate my array. Okay, so I will be writing like this, integer, like this. This is my array name equal to new int 20. So this is the combination of these two statements. So this right side will remain the same, and we have clubbed both these statements like this. Okay, so left side we have clubbed in this form, that is int array, int, and we have defined that notation that will define us that we are using this array variable. And here we are using this new operator with the data type and with size 20. Okay, so this statement will both declare also and it will instantiate also. It will declare also and instantiate also. Fine. So this is regarding that arrays we need to discuss. So when we use this new operator, so what will happen that if we are having a numeric type, like we are using this new operator, so some memory allocation will be there. So what it will be the default size? Okay. So what it will be the default value for that? So if we are using a numerical type, then it will be by default. It will be start from 0. By default, it will start from 0. If we are using a numeric type here, it will start from 0. And if we use a Boolean type, if we are using a Boolean type here, so it will initialize itself as a false. Okay, and null for reference type. And if we are using it as a reference type, it will be defined as null. Okay, it will be given as a null value. Okay. So this basic feature where we are using this new operator to allocate memory to this array part. Okay, this particular feature help us to define that arrays are dynamically allocated. Okay, we are using this new operator for that. That will help us that in Java all arrays are dynamically allocated because we are because in this second step we are allocating a particular memory part by using this new operator. Fine. So by using this new operator, we are allocating that memory portion to an array. So which is making it as a dynamically, that is we can say that in Java we can say that arrays are dynamically allocated. Next is the case that we can use that particular concept of that is an array literal. Okay, so we are also having the concept of an array literals here. So another concept that you need to know is the array literal. So we are also have a new concept in Java, that is array literals. Okay. So array literals is what? That is a situation where the size of the array and variables are already known. Okay. There could be a situation where size of an array and the variables are already known. At that time, array literals are used. So at that time, we can use this array literals. Okay. So at that time, we can use this array literals. Like we are having int. Again, we are defining like this int, and we have the array name like this. We have declared this particular array part over here. Now, what we are doing? We are writing like this new that we require in order to allocate the memory. New is there, and then we have int. That is the data type we need to mention, and this is the array type that we are defining. But we are also defining all the elements. So what is this array literal, in which we are defining the size of an array and the variables are already. So what we have done, we have used this integer, we have declared this particular array, and by using the new part, we have allocated that memory. And in the integer portion, you can write any number of elements like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, so you have defined all those elements like this. Okay, so this is how we can declare a particular array literal. Fine. So this is a part of your array literal. Now if we want to say that how we can assess. So this was all about array literals, where we just, this could be a situation where we need to mention the size of array and the variables also. So at that time we can use this array literals. Okay, so integer array and is there. So new in 1, 2, 3, and we have defined all those elements. Now the next thing is that how we can use this Java array elements. So here the case is that assessing Java elements, Java array elements using for loop. Okay, so this is a case where we need to define that how we can assess Java array elements using for loop. So each element in the case of an array is assessed with its index. So how we can assess, like we can say that we can assess elements in Java with its index value. Fine. So we need to use the index value in order to define this particular loop, in order to assess the Java array elements using the for loop. So index begin with the 0. Index will begin with the 0 part, and it will end at, and it will be ending at the total array size minus 1. And it will end at total array size minus 1. Okay, so let's suppose we are saying that we are having total 7 elements. So it will start from the 0 and it will end at 6. Obviously, that elements will be like we are having 7 elements. So it will start from the 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the 6th part. So total number of elements will be 7 only. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the 7th part. Okay, so let's suppose we are having that what is we can say that we can define it as like a total array size minus 1, that will be the total ending point. So ending point will be at the 6th position here. Clear? So ending point will become a 6th position here. So how we can just assess all those elements in case of a for loop, we can write like this: for, let's suppose in I equal to 0. This is the variable that we are taking, and we have to move till array dot length. So total length that particular array will be having. Okay, so that is array dot length, and we will increment each element index position 1 by 1. Okay, so we will be incrementing each, we will be assessing each position 1 by 1. Okay, so we can write like this, right? That is system dot out dot println, and we can just write like this: element at index plus I is the index value that we are having here. I plus, and we can just give the space length. So we can just this is the again that we are having. I just scroll my camera. So we can we are having like this element at index position will be like this, and this is the space that we need to mention. I plus, and the finally that is the array I here. Okay. So this is the basically index that will tell us that at which particular position you are having which type of an element. So we need to start with the first position, that is 0, and then after that we can have we move towards the total length of that array, and finally we will be assessing each and every element one by one by in a proper sequence we can have. Okay, so this is a case that you can see. This is the case you can see. That is that how you can start with the initial points and end at the total length size. Okay. Fine. So this is a way that you can show the display or you can assess all those elements in an array. Fine. Now I will be using one particular this program just to define you that how we can declare, instantiate, initialize and traverse a particular array. So I will be using my that command from for that. So just wait for a while. Okay, students, I am going to share my screen with you. So here I will just tell you that how we can declare, instantiate, initialize or traverse an array. Okay, so again with the help of a program, I think that will be more clear. So this is the case we can write like this, that is we need to declare, this is just the comment section I am using, instantiate, shade, initialize, and traverse an array, and traverse an array. Okay, so as you know that in Java, we always need to use a class. We need to start with a class only. So we can write like this, array 1, or we simply completely write like this, array 1. And here, again, in this particular portion, we need to define that main method. So for that, we require some particular keywords here, like public, static, public, static, void, main, and we need to pass that string arguments here, string arguments, Fine. And here we will just declare a particular array here. Okay. We will just declare and instantiate that particular array. So we are writing like this, public static void main, and we are writing like this, int array. So now let's suppose this is the name of my array, equal to new int. So whenever that new will come, that means you are allocating some memory to it. Okay, so we are having new int and we have defined, let's suppose we are defining the size like this, that is 5. So here what we have done, we have declared and instantiation has been done here, and instantiation has been completed here. Okay, next case is that we have A0. So now what we are doing, we are just giving the elements, we are just defining all those elements in that particular array. So let's suppose I am initializing of that particular elements are there. So I'm writing like this, A0 equal to 10. Then we have A1 equal to 20. And the next element is like this, A3 equal to 30. And sorry, it is A2, I have to write 2. Then we have A3 as, let's suppose I have written 60 here, and the last element is A4. So here I am defining like this, 80. Okay, so these are the 5 elements that I have given here. Now what we do, now we need to traverse that particular array. Okay, so for traversing that particular array, Java array, so what I need to do, I am using this for loop. So what is the here we can say that we can use like this, for I equal to, we need to mention its data type, int I equal to 0, and then we need to traverse that particular array using its length property. So we can write like this, I less than a dot length, that is a dot length here. I less than a dot length, and we need to increment that particular array element one by one, index value one by one. Okay, not the array element but the index value. Okay, and finally we are using that system dot out dot println, and we are just printing that particular array element at a particular location. Okay, so just wait for a while. I need to open that command prompt here. So first of all, I need to save this particular program. So I am writing like this, save as array1 dot java. Okay, now I just check for any type of an array of an error. So I am writing like this, array1 dot java. Okay, so we are done with this particular part. Now I will run that Java array1. Okay, See, all these elements are displayed here. So this is a simple concept. What we have used it differently, a length property. Okay. So if you see this particular screen over here, so we have used a particular length property here like this. So that will help us to just check the total size of an array, and whatever the elements that we have given at that particular length, it can just show all those elements here. Okay, so this is one of the basic program that you must know, that if you want to use a Java array in case of a Java, so what are the different features that you require? So first of all, we need to declare that particular array. Then we need to instantiate at that particular array, because in case of Java, array is dynamically allocated. So we need to mention it with the help of a new operator. Then we need to initialize that particular array. Okay, and after that particular array, we are just we have initialized all those value, and finally we have traversed each and every element. So this was the output that we have got after we have executed this particular program here. Okay, so this is the case that you must this is one of the property of an array, that we can have that we can use this length property just to define all those arrays. Okay. Similarly, we can I can define another. This was a single dimension array that we are mentioning, and we can also define a two-dimension array. So two-dimension array mein, what will happen, that we have a like it is a part of a multi-dimension array. Okay, so in that particular case, data is stored in form of a row column based index. Okay, or we can say that matrix form index it will be there, it will be saved. So I just need to show you that particular program also. So I can write like this: class array 2. Let's suppose this is my class name, and I am writing like this: public static void main. Okay, so these are the arguments that I need to pass like this. Here, what I need to declare and initialize that two-dimensional array. So what I will do now, here, see the syntax, like for the single dimension, we have used a single notation there, but now we are using a two notation, or two subscripts will be there. So we are writing like this: two array, and let's suppose I am mentioning like this. So this will define me that I am using a two-dimensional array, equal to, now what I will do, I will directly give the elements over here. Okay, so I am writing like this: 1, let's suppose 2, 3. These are the elements that I am having in that particular two-dimensional array. So this is my first row. Second is the 2, 4, 5. Okay, so after that, again the third row I will be mentioning like this, like 4, 5, 5. Okay, now let's suppose, so I have declared all those, I have initialized all those elements in a two-dimensional array. So this is my first row, second row, and the third row that I am having. Okay, so finally I will just close this part, and here we can now I need to print that particular two-dimensional array. So as you know that for the printing part, we require two loops for that. One is for the rows part, and the another loop is for the column part. So we are writing like this: for int I. So let's suppose I take a first element as I equal to 0. Then we have I less than 3. So I can also directly give the value also, or I can use that length part, I less than 3. Next we are having I plus plus. Okay, so this is my for loop over here. For int j equal to 0, j less than 3, j plus plus. Okay, so this is the another loop that I have taken with the element j. So that is for the column side that I want. So simply what I will do, I just print my all elements like this: system dot out dot println and I will not use that that line over here. So I am printing like system.out.print, and here I will be using that array. I element is there and the J part. So row is also there and the column part I am also having. Okay, and for this we can just give the space here, and I will close this particular part. Okay, so here I am just printing all those elements, so that's why I am use that print line here. So here after each row, after the we can say that displaying of each row, I will move to the next part. So that is system. We're having like this system dot out dot print ln. Okay, so we are having this print ln here. So this also. Okay, so I am going to save this particular program. So here I am writing like this array 2.java. Okay, like this. Now I will open my command prompt here. So let's run the program. Let's see that it should be compiled properly. So we are writing like this Java C array 2.java. Oh, some this word I have mentioned static like this. Again, I will save my program, and now I will again compile it. So this is small errors that are coming. So see, now it's okay. Now I have my program is compiled fully. Now I will run my program. So like this. See, you can print your this array elements like this. So this is how we can use this 2-dimension array also. Okay, so I hope that this lecture was quite useful for you. Thank you very much.